In 1984, Taito released The Legend of Kage in arcades, and they ported it to the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1986. Let's pop it in the old NES and give it a try, see how it looks today. And yes, I did call this game The Legend of Kage. For years I was calling it The Legend of Kage. But recently, in doing some research on the game, I found out that it's actually pronounced Kage, as per the Japanese name. So in The Legend of Kage, you control a ninja named Kage. You see him right there in the middle of the screen, throwing ninja stars and running around all over the place. There are 4 stages in the game, which is rather short for an NES game. And to compensate for this, to actually beat the game, on the NES version you have to complete it 3 times in a row. And your ultimate goal in the game is to rescue Princess Kiri, who was kidnapped by some kind of mystical ninjas or something, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. It's not very important. So let me move on to actual player control. And it's in the mediocre category as far as I'm concerned. This is one of those games where you don't jump by pressing a button, you jump by pressing up. And I always hated those kind of games. Those kind of player controls just didn't feel that smooth to me. I always felt that pressing a button to jump felt much more precise. So anyhow, yeah, you press up to jump. Your B button throws your ninja stars, and your A button swings your little tiny sword around in a circle. It's not very effective as a weapon, but when you actually go to rescue the princess, it's crucial, because she just stays tied up to a pole until you actually cut her down with your sword. You'll occasionally see power-ups that are little white balls, and when you pick those up, your robes change color, and your ninja stars get a little bit bigger each time. There's 2 or 3 different power-ups. You're looking at the highest power-up, I believe. You can also pick up a scroll in this game, though I didn't come across any when I played recently. And what the scroll does is when you touch the scroll, your character sits on the ground and meditates, and all the enemies around you die. Which is a pretty f***ing cool feature, I must say. I mean, imagine that, if you could just sit down and meditate on the ground and all your enemies instantly die. So you're currently looking at the 3rd stage, and I wasted most of my lives getting to the 2nd stage, but I don't think I've lost a life since, and I don't think I do until I beat the game the first time around. And that 1st stage does indeed seem to be the hardest. Now, I remember getting this game as a gift when it first came out, and from what I remember, I didn't think too highly of it then. I remember asking for The Legend of Zelda, and my parents came home with The Legend of Kage. And I was like, oh, what the f*** is this? I mean, Taito had a reputation, at least according to me, of not making very stellar games. I mean, they were alright games. Their arcade games were a little bit better than their NES ports, but I remember having a distinct sinking feeling when I opened up the package and I saw a Taito game, The Legend of Kage. And that probably influenced my feelings towards the game, because I really wanted The Legend of Zelda. And I can only wonder how many parents made the same mistake mine did, because in 1986 and 1987 there was only 2 games in the store that started with The Legend of in the title. But crushed birthday wishes aside, this game is not terrible. It's okay. It's playable. It's very mediocre on all aspects. And there you have it. I'm Dommie from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.